Hi, my name's Mrs. McDonald, and I'm here to share another story with you today. I'm sharing a story that was recommended to me by one of my kids' counselors. My child was diagnosed with high functioning autism, and this book was written to help people understand how a person with high functioning autism, otherwise and previously known as Aspergers Syndrome, in our area. Now it's known as high functioning autism because they put it under the same umbrella of the autism spectrum. But at any rate, this is a really wonderful book that shows some of the perspectives of a person with autism or Asperger's. So I'm going to read it to you, and then afterwards I might say a few things about how it's been different for us, but if you don't want to hear that part, just stop then, okay? So here we go. All cats have Asperger's syndrome. The first signs of Asperger's syndrome are usually picked up very young. An Asperger child looks at the world in his own unique way. He likes to be near those he loves, but doesn't want them to hold him, preferring squishy places to a hug. Instead of coming to people for comfort, he may be overly attached to a toy or a pet. It's possible he is extra adventurous with no sense of danger, and he uses up some of his 9 lives all too quickly. Can you see that? Let's see. Beware of the dog. An Asperger child has exceptionally good hearing, and loud sounds and sudden movements may scare him. His other senses can be heightened too, such as touch. These clothes are scratchy. And smell. Phew! It's garbage day again. Yet things that bother other people may not bother him. It's not cold. He's often fussy about what he eats, and wants the same food presented in the same way, day after day. He isn't interested in the things other kids his age do. And when he's forced to mix, he doesn't know how. Other kids make friends, but don't invite him to play. Or he may be bullied. Sometimes his parents feel sad, wondering why they can't understand their own child. And they can become very protective. Look at that bubble wrap. The Asperger child may feel sad too. And he may become a loner, caught up in a world of his own, where small things fascinate him for hours. And he can do the same thing over and over again without getting bored. When things get too much for him, he may tantrum. Sometimes his relatives think they could bring him up better than his parents can. In our day, his vocabulary may be very advanced. That was catastrophic, Mother, or Mum. But then he gets little words all mixed up. That doesn't look like a mouse. Or misunderstands what people say. I haven't let the cat out of the bag. When people talk to him, he may refuse to look at them. Yet when he talks, he goes on and on and on about the same topic. I like black mice, and brown mice, and white mice, and bores everyone silly. Then he says something that makes them stop and think. Did you know that a mouse and a man share 97.5% of the same DNA? And they may marvel at his bright, intelligent mind. In many ways, his thinking is far ahead of his peers. It's already spelling. And he seeks answers in places others don't think to look. It's all in the balance. Or invents new ways to do things. If you wash this way, you don't get fur balls. People may be astounded by how far he is prepared to go to test his latest theory. If a space is smaller than the width of your whiskers, you can't get through. And some will say he's a little genius. Daily rituals comfort him. 3 stretches before each nap. And he likes a good routine. A cat nap after breakfast, a cat nap after lunch, and gets worried if the schedule is changed. Mom is 3.26 minutes late. Often an Asperger child has a great sense of humor, but he doesn't always think about what he is saying. Look at that fat man with the big nose. And those around him may cringe with embarrassment. And he is honest, which is great, of course, but sometimes he is too honest. Your face is all crinkly when you're mad, Mama. Yet, when he tries to tell a lie, he's not very good at it. Bird? What bird? An Asperger child may be very open to all people, regardless of their age. Or size. Or species. And he may choose friends others wouldn't have thought he would like. But as he grows older, he senses that he is different from everyone else. And feels as if he belongs on a different planet. Like an outsider looking into a world he never truly understands. Yet, with his unique perspective on life, his eye for detail, and his amazing powers of concentration, many an Asperger child has reached the top of his chosen field. A business tycoon, a judge, a professor. Sure, he may need a little help following fashionable trends. But don't forget, everyone is different in his own way, and there is a little bit of Asperger in us all. So, an Asperger child is just like any other child. He needs love and encouragement, the occasional bit of advice, space to be himself, and then everyone can sit back and enjoy the unique individual he becomes. Oh, the end. Well, anyhow, I really like this story. It really opens up conversations if you want to learn more about people who have high-functioning autism or Asperger's, whichever you want to call it. It's a good tool to start yourself thinking. But there are, everybody, just like they were showing, is different. Because, like, for one thing, my child was not one that would seek danger and would do all kinds of dangerous things. In fact, it was just the opposite. And very fearful of things, especially, sensory issues where maybe feeling like on top of a horse would feel like, whoa, like where they couldn't feel the right way in space and would get scared of everything that could happen around them and worry that it would spook the horse, and therefore it would spook the horse. And whenever they were smaller, before we knew a diagnosis, And when I look back, I can see a few things kind of related to that, where whenever this one would be in a swing, most of my other kids, whenever they were in a swing and I would pull them up and swing them when they were like, 1 year old or whatever, they would want to go high. They'd like it, when they were 1 or 2, 3. But this one would like cringe, and we'd have to go really slow and then slowly speed it up and slowly speed it up. So that was something that later I looked back and I was like, oh yeah, that was really strange. And there were other things too, but definitely doesn't like change. No change in routine. So it's really best not to say you're going to do something until you're actually headed out the door, because if something comes up and changes your little suggestion that you're probably going to do, it better happen or there's going to be a tantrum, which I call a meltdown. There's a difference between a disobedient temper tantrum and a meltdown from things that an Asperger or high functioning autism or autistic child has. A meltdown is from being overstimulated, not being able to control their world, trying to get a grip on the world, and just things are so overwhelming that they can't help it. A temper tantrum is different. That's whenever they're trying to get their own way and manipulate you. So it's really hard sometimes to distinguish that, but when I look back on myself, I think I did a pretty good job of it even before I knew what was going on and I knew why it was happening. And that's where you get a lot of this with other people saying, that when I was like thinking amen, because I remember a few people who would say things kind of like to suggest that, if they were the parent, that their child wouldn't act like that and wouldn't get away with those kinds of things. And that was really, really hard on me, because being a mom and being a good mom is one of the most important things in my life. And whenever you have people feeling like, you're not any good at it because your kid's falling apart, but you're doing your best to help your kid, it's really hard. So anyhow, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm certainly no expert, but I certainly know a lot more now than I used to. And don't ever be afraid to be friends with somebody with autism or Asperger's. You just have to realize that you have to see what makes them tick and try not to push their buttons. And that's kind of like what you should be like with everybody. But maybe they're just a little more heightened with someone on the autism spectrum. Anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that helped you. And like I said, if you have any questions, just write them below and I'll do my best to answer from my perspective. I'm not a psychologist. I'm a mom. I do have a degree in child development, family studies and child development, but I do not have a degree in psychology or any of that. But I can just give you a mom's perspective. Anyhow, talk to you later. Bye.